Is that when we were presented with the docket, when the accused first appeared, we, at the time, were of the view that there was sufficient evidence to place the matter on the roll. The accused had been identified in the identification parade by two persons. But what then happened is that subsequent to that, more information came to light. The information that was now contained in the docket was inconsistent with the identification parade. You'll recall that there were almost about 7 people in the house, and of course questions were always going to be asked why only 2 of them were able to identify, not the rest. But subsequent to that, as I say, you have forensic evidence that was gathered from the scene, and everything looks a bit inconsistent. So we were not satisfied that it would be fair and just to continue with the matter when we ourselves had so many questions around the identification parade, around the evidence that was gathered from the scene, and we felt that we need to give the benefit to the person who has been charged and not compromise his rights. We withdraw the matter provisionally. We know where he lives. If there is a need to, in future, to re-enroll the matter, and once there's more information, there's more clarity around the issues that we seek clarity from, then we'll be definitely be able to enroll the matter.
Now, we put this matter through before, that the family was saying that they do not believe that Mbata is the one who's behind all of this. We put that before, and it was said that they're 100% sure that this is the right man. For now, you're wrong. Were you hasty in the manner in which you conducted this case? Public pressure, perhaps?
No. I can only speak for the National Prosecution Authority. I cannot speak for other people. And I'm saying that when we were given the document by the police, there was, and there still is, an identification parade that was held that 2 persons who were inside the room identified the accused. And we were satisfied at that point because the person had already been arrested, that there was sufficient evidence to place the matter on the roll. But as we all know, the investigations were ongoing from there. There has been evidence, which has been rather information as well, which has now been brought to us. So when we said, because we have to make that decision whether we continue the case or not, the police, they investigate, they arrest, but it's up to us to say, well, we want to keep the matter on the roll or not. We then felt that we can't, in good conscience, and continue with this matter when we are saying that there's so much discrepancy in the evidence that has been gathered at this point. And we need to clarify that. It would be unfair to the accused to keep him in custody when there's so many issues that need to be clarified.
Is there any message to the family? I mean, this is a man whose life potentially got destroyed. He could be lynched in his community. Anything can happen. Is there anything that will be done now to try and avoid that from happening?
As I said before, 2 persons out of 7 that were in the room when the incident took place, where the deceased was killed, positively identified this person as one of the 3 people that were inside the house that participated in the crime. So there is that evidence. But what I'm saying is that, you have to weigh that evidence against everything else that is in the docket. And if there is an inconsistency and contradictions in that evidence, then obviously you realize as the state that you do not have a good prospect of successful prosecution, and it's only fair. In fact, it's a constitutional obligation on us to withdraw the matter and allow the police to continue their investigation.
Certainly this is embarrassing, isn't it?
Well, it's not an embarrassing for NPA. If there is no sufficient evidence, we take a decision and we take it with good conscience, and it's based on the Constitution. We have to make sure that whatever we do is fair and just, and that's what we have done.
Nati, what type of inconsistencies existed in the evidence? You keep on talking about inconsistencies.
Well, I would not want to dwell in the investigations, because remember, the investigations are continuing. So if I'm going to have to mention that these were the types of discrepancies at this point in time, it might compromise future investigations, and I don't think that's what we want at this point.
Would it be fair to say that people who identified this accused were lying?
I would not say that.
But going back to my colleague's question here, is this guy now not a marked man? People might not understand what provisionally withdrawn is, and the fact that clearly some mistake happened in the identity parade. Is he not a marked man? How will he be protected from an angry community?
Once again, as the National Prosecuting Authority, our responsibility is to look at the evidence that is presented to us. The evidence that was presented to us, which is still contained on the docket, is that two persons, not one, two persons identified the accused in a formal identification parade that was held by the police, and he was identified as one of the three accused who committed the offense. Now, I'm saying we had to weigh that. I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm not saying there were mistakes in the way the ID parade was held. I'm saying we had to weigh that with the evidence, in contrast with the evidence that has now emerged. The evidence that was gathered from the scene, which in our view, it leaves us as NPA with a lot of question marks. In other words, we are not satisfied that we can continue with this matter in all fairness and just to the accused. We are doing this, we have to make sure that we protect his rights. So we are thinking we can't continue to keep him in custody when in all fairness we are thinking that the evidence has a lot of loopholes, there are a lot of questions that we need to ask, and we can't be asking questions at this point in time while he remains in custody.
What do you know at this stage about, okay, you said there's two people, one Mbata, you were looking for somebody else, but where are we now? Could you shed some light?
I cannot shed some light. Remember that we rely on the police. They provide us with information, they do investigations. They have told us that they are busy with investigations, and we will wait. When they have evidence or they arrested somebody, they will definitely bring the docket back to us, and we will deal with the matter. At the risk of repeating myself, there is evidence that came to light that was gathered from the scene that was not available when the accused first appeared. So it was then presented to us just before the appearance today. And we then obviously looked at the evidence that existed at the time, which was the identification parade evidence, and we looked at the evidence that was gathered from the scene, and the other statements that were taken from individuals that were inside the house. And our view was that there is so much discrepancy that there are no prospects at this point in time of successful prosecution.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you.
This is ABC.
Thank you.